IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Just trying to remember the songs from Jalwa, a movie that I have done many years ago in 1985-86, where Remo was one of the main composers of Pack That Smack, and I can't remember all the songs, but 3-4 songs were his, and he brought that calypso, Goan, Spanish feel to the music and all. It was a big hit. He was supposed to be on the show today, but sadly he's not too well, so we've had to quickly do a recant and get together two solid soldiers. Amit Doshi left a meeting where arguably 4 to 5,000 crores were at stake, and he said, no, I got to do this, the podcast is in trouble, they don't have a guest, and he's jumped into it. Silverie by chance fell asleep in the office late last night, and so is here today, and he's going to join us as well. But before that, my rant for the day, a true rant which happened at exactly 8:11 in the morning outside my office. I left the gym, which is 5 minutes away, and came to my office, which is in Fountain, and I parked in the same parking. That's why I like to come really fast to get that parking. Fountain and parking, paradox in terms, doesn't happen. 8:15, it's all over. So 8:11, I'm there, I park it, but some idiot parked his bike really close to where the parking bit ends, and you try to squeeze every inch in. So I going really close, I touched the bike. It was a halka touch, and the bike fell. And then, of course, he came running after me and saying, you have to pay for this, you have to pay for that. And things went on for a little while. But then I told him, come up to the office, have a cup of coffee, and we'll discuss it. But he hasn't turned up far. I, of course, am not going to give him too much. I was willing to go up to 300 rupees. Because he showed me one small plastic white thing which came out from somewhere and acted like the whole bike had fallen apart. I mean, it just, it was absolutely perfect. So for this extortion, I put my foot down. Although I was willing to give him a cup of coffee because we have horrible tea here. So anyone who comes and drinks tea with us will never come again. Speaking of never come again, we do have two people who returned from just 12 hours, 14 hours of last night. We chatted, we almost slept together, and now we're back again, but with different clothes. Amit, Silverie, first tragic that Remo wasn't able to make it. I was really looking forward. You guys don't know, but I have a bit of a history with Remo. Done a couple of events. Back when I was 14 years old, he was on the set also. He has a couple of shots in the film as well. Yeah. There's a shot where he's in the hacienda singing or making drinks or something. Quite a personality, great guy, legendary person in all said and done, and a few Hindi film hits which people don't know, like Pyar To Hona Hi Tha, and if I remember correctly, Pyar Ka Signal, which was in my Judge Diklaja showcase, my favorite song.
Yeah, I really like that song. Yeah.
3 or 4, and they were big hits. These songs were big hits. They were not marginal hits. So yeah. Anyway, hopefully we'll get him right. We'll get him back soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully sometime this week only. But let's see. Hopefully he's feeling better pretty soon.
Eventually, you'll see the end of your childhood,
get accustomed to womanhood,
enjoy the experience of sisterhood,
might get to wifehood,
or not, choose motherhood,
or not. You'll learn to define your personhood,
earn a livelihood,
change the neighborhood,
and get rid of the falsehood that life post-academia is easy.
So join me, Ritasha,
And me, Ayushi,
on a journey from station starting point
to station, what now?
Next station, Pudin station, and hopefully, Agla station, adulthood.
Fresh episodes out every Thursday.
All right. Apparently, he was feeling fine till he realized that he had to chat on a podcast with me, and then suddenly, boom, not feeling well. No, I'm just kidding. I hope he's okay. We have no idea. I should take that back. Sometimes these things will backfire on us.
Why are people in the chat saying that I have to play flute for? Is Remo?
Yeah. Very famous. That's one of the. Okay. He plays lots of instruments. One of his songs, Meri Munni, and this and that. You guys are not Remo fans. I mean, I'm not much of a.
I mean, I know
Indian music buff guy, but yeah.
I know Remo, right? I mean, like I remember watching.
Then sing with me. Pyar to hona hi tha. Great. Now he'll come.
But I remember him as like I remember him as the first, he was the Indian pop star before we had pop stars.
Yeah, you're right. So he's Alka. No, what's the name?
Even before
Chennai,
that,
Alisha Chennai. Just no, they're together. Sharon Prabhakar, all these.
So Sharon Prabhakar, maybe,
but I pre-parikrama and all that. Okay, so there's the first movement
of
these musicians who go beyond their little locality, and then suddenly there was a little industry sprouting as we started MTV. And then of course you have Euphoria, Parikrama, all these guys coming in with rock bands and Hindi rock, what I call
No,
Hindi
but
rock.
I
Yeah,
feel like this was even earlier than that. I feel like
yeah, it's
even
earlier. It's the
when
80s. We're going back to the 80s.
yeah, in the 80s, right? I mean, like I feel like even before Jalwa, I remember seeing Remo in some kind of a magazine spread or something like that
Well,
back then.
and also add songs and all that. So he was right
Yeah,
there. Gary Lawyer, Remo, the same generation of performers. Usha Otop, of course, was already there, but she was doing everything. So they all they're like a classic vintage, iconic sort of group. Five,
right.
six of them. Yeah. Also, don't forget Alicia Chinna, yeah, who actually was pretty talented and had a good start. And then I don't know what happened after that. A bit like my career. I don't know what she's doing. And also an Alibag resident. So maybe that's what happens the most. Okay. So we this is an emergency show testing our metal. We weren't able to prepare for it because we're all about preparation on this show.
Of
I
course,
mean, this show
man. So
doesn't.
much
Oof, yeah. I mean, pages
deep,
and pages deep.
deep research.
The three of us don't sleep before this show. For 8 hours to 10 hours before the show, we're just looking at the internet, reading your
Research.
print, research. I chat to people on the road who don't even know about the show and just get what I get from them. Yeah, we do our work for sure. And what's beautiful to watch, and I hope I get some reaction from the chat, is that Silverie is in office. Now, he wasn't in office at 5
Made it.
p.m. last night,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's come somehow or the other. And he was talking while driving because he spoke to me about Remo cancelling and he was on the wheel and he was obviously talking about the handset. I don't think there was
Yeah,
any
correct.
Bluetooth involved,
Yeah, correct.
right? So that's against the law, young man. And that's very
Even
dangerous.
handset is
what to
against
do.
the law, really?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know what
Like
the
no,
law
no,
is.
Bluetooth headset,
Headset
Blue-
is not.
like as in like my car
So-
Bluetooth system, basically.
Okay, so the
That's
car
not bad,
Bluetooth. So the thing is that I think the law is that you're not allowed to talk. Period. Right? Whether it's on
Huh.
Bluetooth, whether it's on headset, whether it's on anything. Right?
But it's more difficult to catch you if you're on Bluetooth.
It's
I
not just
guess.
the catch you part of it, right? The thing is that when you're talking using your phone like an instrument, that's as bad as drunk driving, right? I mean, like there have been Mythbuster episodes about it, where they kind of like demonstrate that driving drunk as opposed to driving with the phone in your hand is just as bad.
Firstly, the perspective goes
Uh-huh.
one-sided, okay, when they do that. And I
Oh.
would get so angry. The guy's on the phone and he's driving like this. So this side is
Yeah.
neglected completely. And he's
Correct.
almost touching your car. And you can see the reason because his dhyan is completely on this side,
Yep.
sort of. He's become lefty, the perspective changes fully. So no, I'm against that. They should be shot. I do think a little capital punishment for a couple of years will help the country. Just
Yep.
shoot these people immediately and things will change fast. In that sense, China got it right once in a while. I'm not saying take everything from China, but sometimes, there's no other way. Shoot them. Shoot a few of them. Shoot a few bikes. Like an idiot who parked in my parking in an arrogant way on one stand because he was lazy. Hence the bike fell. It was a huge 350cc bike. It shouldn't have fallen. By the way, I deadlifted the bike. I picked it up alone. Quickly, I thought I can pick it up before anybody comes. The whack sound. And as I picked it up, there were 20 people. I mean, this is Fountain, for God's sake. Yeah. Oh, that was a terrible idea.
Was it one of the big bikes or was it one
It
of
was
the
a
smaller
350
bikes?
bike. I couldn't remember the name. It's some fancy name. It wasn't one name that came to my mind immediately.
Okay.
Plus, I was trying not to make a big deal out of it and escape into the thing as quickly as possible. And then he came and he didn't come like in that fighting thing. Normally, what happens, it becomes fight or flight, and then tempers fray very fast and all that.
Right.
And I was anyway
Yeah,
aroused.
I would have totally gotten beaten up.
No, but I just squatted 190 kgs box squat.
Just-
So my blood is like rushing through my head. And I came, out. And even though I was at fault, I came out angry, swinging, picked it up. And then this guy comes and I'm still angry. But he went into the thing about, pain. He was like, he played a Devdas kind of a role. And that just completely befuddled me for a second because where did that come from? It was like,
Well, no, but I mean,
And
yeah,
then-
no,
then-
that's
my arrogance left immediately, and then I felt bad, but I didn't know how to handle the situation because I wasn't expecting it.
so. I got the new car, right? And as soon as I got the new
You
car,
banged it?
I banged it within less than a week in the building while
Ah,
parking.
jeez.
I got it
Ah.
repaired. You didn't know this? No. So like, I got the car on Thursday, and I banged it on Wednesday in the building in the parking, which is why I got a driver. Like,
Okay.
I mean,
In
like,
case there's a somebody reeling with that expression, he banged it on the next Wednesday. He couldn't have
Yeah,
banged it on the Wednesday before he got the car on Thursday because that's
I-
time travel.
I-
Jeez, man, this podcast is woo. Hello, they say it's lucky to bang it in the first few days. One bang.
I don't.
It's like
I don't feel
so it takes
lucky.
away the bad karma of the car, going forward.
So it didn't cost me much, but it cost me a
How
bit,
much?
and it cost the insurance a lot.
How much? Oh, you
Uh,
used
so I-
insurance. Why did you
yeah,
use the
yeah,
insurance?
because I found out how much it was going to
How
cost.
badly
So
could
it
you
was
bang it in the garage, brother? You scraped it against something,
pretty
right?
badly. So apparently 2 panels had to be replaced. The tail light had to be replaced.
You reversed.
Like, so bumper panel had to be replaced. Yeah, I reversed bang into the pillar. and like
And you reverse at a decent pace.
at a decent pace. Yeah.
So what
So
cost to company from the insurance that you lost?
like 50.
10 grand?
No, so I had to pay
50
five.
grand?
It cost 50. I had to pay five.
Acha, from pocket you paid 5, but you've lost that
Yeah.
insurance, the premium will go up.
Yeah. So, but again, no claim bonus. I didn't have earlier. Like it wasn't like a. I haven't had insurance for 5-6 years now, so I didn't have any
Silvery,
no claim bonus.
Silvery, generally the big question the insurance guy will ask you is who's the other party? Here there's no other party. This is the best.
Yeah.
This is where the guy does I'm a performer doing a monologue. He banged the car on his own. Mine is with a bike guy. For what it's worth, there are two parties involved, and then you do a mandoli. Oh, that's
No, but
fabulous.
so yesterday, as I was coming home, somebody touched the car from the back. Right, this is not my fault. Somebody touched it from the back. I'm not even driving, and when you get hit.
You have CC cameras in the building
No, no. This is what do you call it?
in your
On the
office.
road, on the road, like coming back on
This
SV
is
road.
why I warned you, Amit. This is why I warned you, especially for your mindset and my mindset. You can't, your busy day and you've got these deals and you're looking at the future of your company. You cannot spend the whole day looking out of the window worrying about the car like a
No,
mad
no. So
bawa.
I have a. That's why I had a driver driving the car yesterday.
But then how did
But
they?
as soon as he no, so somebody. It was not our fault. It wasn't the driver's fault. It wasn't my fault. Somebody hits you from the back. How can that be your fault when you're stopped at a signal? It's not your fault, right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
my reaction when it happened was exactly the reaction you're describing right now. It's like, oh man, again. Like that was my reaction when this happened.
I'll tell you a quick story, a very boring story, but please, I have to tell you. I have a pal who bought a Valkyrie. Okay, you guys know famous bike. I don't even know 20, 25 lakhs. Someone in the chat will tell you how much it costs. Ridiculous. He's a rich kid or whatever, and he got it many years back. And Nariman Point is the office as well. And then he spent the whole day looking out of the window, worried about the bike. Because people would come and start looking at the bike, touching the bike, sitting on the bike, taking pictures near the bike, and that's people not doing anything bad. Then you're worried about the criminal element, the delinquent, the juvenile, the moron, the me. And so after some time, he never brought the bike out. He said, I can't take the anxiety. Wherever I go, if he goes to the bar, not that you should drink and drive, but he would keep going to check the bike. So sometimes, of course, that's like a priceless superb bike, and that's the other problem. But for us, your car is your priceless superb car. So it's just
Yes,
I
it is.
think really hard, about these
Like,
things.
is there
Fucking parking in this city.
what do you guys think of all those people who have like supercars and all, like Lamborghinis and fancy Rolls Royces in Bombay?
But it's a mindset. Everyone's not the same. There are people who don't care. They don't worry, and sometimes nothing happens to their car because they're so confident and relaxed in their demeanor. And then I think it's a very Parsi thing. There's the whole thing about maybe not just Parsi, but middle classy thing where your vehicle doesn't leave your mind's perspective and perimeter. It's always there, some in the periphery, and you can't focus on anything because you always want to run out and check. It happens.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm like that, right? I mean, like honestly, it happened yesterday. I was like, oh shit, it happened again. And then after that, I was like,
Somebody
fine.
bang the car when you're in a signal. So that means you can bang the car when you're parked
Yeah,
upstairs and there's nobody there, for example.
yeah.
It's the same
What,
thing.
what can you do? You can't do anything about this. You can't
Can't
get
do
stressed
anything.
about this shit, man.
You have to buy a Willys Jeep for 1,40,000, which is 30 years old, change the engine for another 1 lakh, and then 2.5 lakhs. Hopefully, you get a little bit of mileage, then 3 on the liter. You get about 10, hopefully, and then you drive that. It's open, it's dirty. You can urinate in it, do what the hell you want. Nobody will come next to you, and no one will want to take pictures, maybe from far. But it'll be nice, dusty, dirty. I always wanted that, but the heat was too much, so I couldn't cope
You
with a
seen the
open Jeep.
price of the new like Thar Jeeps and stuff like that,
No,
man?
those are
The
super
Mahindra.
machines, yeah, bro.
So, but great looking
Yeah, but
machines though.
The Willys a great
yeah,
machine, by the way. It just there's no
it
frills,
is.
so
It's
it suits
it's
my
the most
personality. I
basic.
really like it. Yeah, but I couldn't bear the heat. I'm the guy who puts the AC on full in December. So my wife, my son wanted to buy the Willys, or rather, will you get me a Willys? And you're going to the whole Willys thing. And my wife said, look, if for 6 months of the year he won't take the car up, Jeep out, what's the point? This is the truth. All right, sorry. Do we
But do you
have?
even get them in India? Will these Jeeps? I mean,
No,
like,
no, no. Willys was an army vehicle, bro. So you can buy it off. Yeah, yeah, it's still there. There are a lot of people
okay,
who do this whole
the
they
refurbishing,
put an
yeah.
Isuzu engine in the old days. Yeah, yeah, you have to do that because it gives you three.
But
Three.
it's a U.S. Army vehicle, right? It's not an Indian Army vehicle.
I think so. I think so. It's foreign. It's absolutely foreign.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's
okay.
either British or American. Yeah, and it's 4-wheel drive. It's a proper 4-wheel drive. It's like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
terrain.
I
But
watch a
now
lot of
terrain is
stupid.
Bombay. Look left and right. It is terrain, is it not? Dug up here. The SV Road, guys. Friday evening, SV Road. Okay, my great Prakash, the world's best man. I wasn't paying attention, and we took SV Road coming back from Goregaon for some reason instead of the highway. I took 2 hours 17 minutes to Malabar Hill, having left at 10 past 6. That's one, and I spent over 1.5 hours, almost 1 hour 26 minutes. I spent inside SV Road. It is what terrorists are using to break you down. They just make you drive in SV Road.
What time was this?
So we left at 6:10, and we probably reached SV Road around 6:30 ish. And then by the time we got out of SV Road, it was 7:50 something.
So where were you going?
No, I went to shoot. I had an event, these hybrid events where we shoot half and whatever. So that was in Goregaon in a small studio, Raheja
But you
complex.
went at 6 o'clock in the morning and you had that kind
No,
of traffic.
6 in the evening. I exited. I
Oh,
went in the
okay.
morning, but I exited in the evening. At 10 past 6, we were in the car, and I was very happy with myself. Thinking I'll have dinner at normal time, 7:30 ish, and all that.
Didn't we record yesterday in the evening?
Friday evening. Next day, I went to Jaipur, brother. I know
Friday.
everything.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
This bang, the car bang has changed your life. Your time dimensions are going out of control.
Little confused, yeah, for a second. I thought you were talking about yesterday. I'm like, wait, we recorded yesterday. Okay.
No, no, no. Yesterday was Monday.
Okay.
They're all different days.
You cannot
Huh.
travel. You cannot travel north to south to north in the evening, man. I mean, like that's just
That would have been bad, but if we took the highway, it would have been much faster. Okay, relatively. The SV Road, my
always the
God. We
case.
are just talking about cars. It comes from the car conversation.
Mm.
I'm just saying,
But
it's just negative, 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 negative. Just look at it. You're banging the car in the freaking building. Somebody bangs the car in the signal. This is week one of your driving. Today, I mean, I drive every morning. I only drive in the morning, basically. And I have some incident or the other. Or I'm screaming and shouting or abusing people. And now you in an empty-ish lane and fountain, I hit the bike. This is sort of my fault. But I was just trying to, because we don't have any space. And I know a car will
yeah,
come behind and, we have to cram like that. So in my defense. Silverie's gone quiet. Powai's got expanse. Lots of space. One good thing about Powai is a planned part of Bombay, right? You guys don't have a parking issue.
Uh, I mean, there is a parking issue still. I'm sure. So the thing is, the Hiranandani in Powai and there's a Hiranandani in Thane, right?
Yeah.
The Hiranandani in Thane, they've learned the lessons that the mistakes that they made in Hiranandani Powai. So basically, the roads are like 5 times, like sorry, 5 too much, maybe like 3 times as broad, and there's parking everywhere, but not in the Powai now.
But what about Marol then? Where does that leave Marol? I mean,
Marol is
you got to
pathetic
continue from
still.
yesterday. Yeah. I mean, if Thane is great and the Powai looks up to Thane, what do we do with Marol? Anybody
Yeah.
from Marol, this is your time to talk back. Don't let him get away with it. Silverie, murdering one road at a time across India. Okay, what do we have, guys?
Yep.
17 minutes.
Yep. So first up, we have a Donald Trump news. Donald Trump just hired a Republican Senator Devin Nunes as the CEO for Trump Media and Technology Group. This person he's a Republican representative in the House. Is this Amit? Or I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's a congressman. But what's really
He's a
interesting about this guy, right, is he's one of the most jokerist kind of politicians that exists, right? So he gets very lawsuit happy when people sue him. And one of the people he sued, right, has a Twitter account called Devin Nunes's cow. Because one of the things that the genesis
Is that
behind
the wife? Please tell me that's not the wife.
no, it's not the wife. The idea behind it is that basically he calls himself a dairy farmer, even though he's a used car salesman, essentially, or a car accessory salesman or something like that. That's how he made his money, but he keeps calling himself a farmer. And so then this guy created this account called Devin Nunes' cow, and just everything that is done is essentially to make fun of him on this thing, right? And so this is the guy.
Why do we do that? Why do rich urban people try to show they're rustic agrarian people? A lot of people do that. Actually, I'm a son of the soil. There's a reason to that. There must be
Farmer, because there is social capital to being a farmer. I mean, like
correct,
you want
exactly.
to be this, right? Son of the soil and all that.
So
But
it's just spinning a story.
what I find so amazing, right, is Trump is hiring this guy whose understanding of the internet is so stupid that he actually believes that a parody account, which is called Devin Nunes' cow, is something that he needs to sue because these guys are basically defaming him. This guy is being hired as the person who is going to run Trump's internet social media
But
campaign.
now that you put it that way, it all makes sense then. I mean,
Now
it
this
takes
is-
one to know one, right?
This
We
is
just put it
hilarious.
that way.
He wants to ban Devin Nunes' cow, right? I mean, like he
No,
wants
no.
it banned. And
So I think as a result of that, what has happened is I just looked up Devin Nunes on Twitter, and now there are like n number of Twitter handles. There's a Devin Nunes' cow is there, Devin Nunes the drag queen, Devin Nunes' grandma, Devin Nunes' dog.
Wow.
It's just endless. That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
it-
that's too funny. And they're all
it's
basically meme accounts. Basically, it's making fun of
Here
it.
it would be a holy website, right? Devin Nunes' cow, come for blessing. We totally different feel completely. By the way, isn't Nunes a Hispanic name?
I think it is.
So there we go. What happened to get rid of the Mexicans? Now you're turning
Well,
to
no, it's not all of
when it
them, right? I mean,
pleases you.
like,
Yeah.
so
Just
a lot of
the workers, immigrants. Yeah.
correct, right?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, no, there are Republicans who don't believe in who are not that.
No, the devil cites scripture for his purposes. Simple.
Well, that's true.
When it seems right, he'll say what he wants to, just like most politicians from
But you
whichever
know
side of
what?
the
I
mouth.
don't know that he is, huh? Because like, actually it's Nunes. It's not Nez, right? Which is typically the
You're
more.
pronouncing it very the Nunes like Diaz. You're pronouncing it in a way
Yeah.
which sounds Hispanic. Otherwise, it would be Nunes, a waspish
I
sounding name, or
I
Um, let's get back to the tech thing. What is he coming up with? I didn't follow that.
This is
Donald
the
Trump.
So
Trump. I think that's the Trump network was the rumor that I heard. There's
yeah.
going to be a
So
Trump
One minute.
network.
May I understand? Is this to take on the Amazons and all of the world,
No,
the
it's to
Bill
take on
Gates
like
and the?
Fox. I
it,
think it's basically
it's
to
to
cannibalize on
Oh,
Fox.
it's more
Is what
media
I.
thing. Okay.
it's media and it's Twitter. Basically, they want to create an alternate to
Sorry, I meant
Twitter
Twitter and I
because
said Amazon.
yeah,
God. Yeah.
they don't want Twitter to be deleted again. Sorry, they don't want to get deleted off
Wow.
Twitter,
They
right?
want to become
Which is
father of
why
Twitter.
which is
Yeah.
why it makes so much sense to hire the guy who wants to ban Twitter accounts. I mean, like to run a Twitter which you don't want to have any banning on. It's just like amazing.
So then they're welcome to India as well, because we've got all these things about put in some rules and regulations. You can say this, you cannot say that. They'll be fine here. Let's bring them right
Yes,
back. Yeah.
they would be very comfortable with it.
But Amit, you realize we're a minority now, right? Those who will say the platform should be just free and that's it. We're literally a minority. When that was the
We've
actual
always been a
essential idea of the founding fathers of all these platforms
but
initially.
we've always been a minority in this sense, right? I mean, like the idea that supporting free speech is always been a minority position. Everybody likes to talk about free speech except for when it offends themselves, right? And this is left, this is right, this is everybody, right? Oh, you cannot stop me from talking, but I can stop you from talking. This is just such a common kind
It's like
of.
a misunderstanding of the value of freedom. Either you value it, in which case you understand you cannot curtail it. But if you don't value it, I mean, then you don't really understand it. So then what you're saying is
Yeah,
there's no real sense of freedom. You just want freedom which is selective for yourself, and that's not freedom.
freedom for me and not for
Yeah.
everybody else. It's the what was it, the Voltaire line?
No, you have to do
I
it. If you
may
do it,
not.
you do it with a French accent, or you do it, and then our accent expert takes over. Yeah,
Okay, accent expert can follow my non-French
guidelines.
accent way, but
Yeah,
basically something along the lines of like I may not agree with what you're saying, but I defend to the death your right to say it, right?
right to say it. Correct.
Yeah,
Very famous line. Come on,
very,
it's with
very
the
famous
French
line.
accent. Silvery with the
That
French accent.
Okay.
I do not agree with what you're saying, but I'll defend to the last your right to say it. Words to that effect. You've understood it. Come
I
on.
do not agree with what you are saying. That is
You
so
sound like an
terrible. That
Arab.
is just
that's
You sound like an
Italian,
Arab
dude.
giving birth.
it's
Yeah,
okay.
what
Yeah,
the
it's
hell?
Oh,
Italian.
that
Sorry.
Try
Yeah, yeah.
again.
No,
that
my
was a
Italian
very
is more
Italian.
like I don't agree with what you're saying.
Uh,
That's sorry. That's very racist.
that defeats the purpose. We don't want your Italian.
Oh,
We
wait.
want
I
your
get it.
French. Yeah.
It
Mademoiselle,
doesn't matter what you say. That's all Italian. Oh, damn it.
could you be more didn't make a poetic in don't open your mouth like more like that perhaps if you try perhaps I don't know. Would you like to give it a shot? Give it one more chance, or the whole show will come to a standstill? Huh? Parlez-vous français? Huh?
It does not matter what you're saying. Something like that, no? That would be that's not right. Yeah? Like that. That's sing song kind of thing.
Third umpire. We tried. You work on it, and by the end of the show, we'll give it a go when we have the
Okay,
AMAs
cool,
going. Oh no, the accent!
The accent.
We've woken up the people. The people are up now.
Uh,
The moment the accents come on, yeah.
Hmm.
Oops, ouch. This show of ours is only going to work on one level. You're talking about making fun in the Nunes account and this and that and about the cow and stuff. I think we are that. We're exactly that, because they who watch us are just looking at us and pointing fingers and saying, "What morons!" So, Sylvie, do a Bhojpuri accent. Chalo, come on now, say the same line. The same line. I cannot.
Man, I
What was the
can't.
line?
It'll just.
You give me the
It'll
line.
just.
I'm going to give you the line again. I'm going to give the line.
What was
To
that
the
again?
effect that I may not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
Okay, and Bhojpuri accent.
अरे ये हम जो तुम बोल रहे हो.
No English. No. In Hindi it's easier. You do it in English.
Oh, in English.
I do
Oh,
not.
okay. How do you Bhojpuri accent? Okay, it'll
I
just
do not
become like
agree with
a,
what you.
like
I
an
do not agree with
Apu
what you're
English
saying.
Indian accent. I don't agree with what you are saying. No, sorry, that's extremely racist. I don't.
Multiple
Also,
FIRs.
Bhojpuri English accent. I don't agree with what you are saying. I mean, that's just me being loud.
It's somewhere
It's
there in
not-
the north. Somewhere in the north is hanging there
Yeah.
like a fruit. Well done. Oh, this has
So
been a big
I think
challenge.
it might not be the Bhojpuri accent, but I mean, like, a Lalu impression might serve
Yeah,
you well
it's
for
somewhat
this.
Bihar.
Yeah.
Bhojpuri is more UP.
Yeah.
Let's be
Okay.
honest.
Yeah.
Like
I
you said,
don't
FIR is
agree
coming.
with what you are saying. Something like that. I
Thought
mean,
I'd be hanged.
let's
You're
not.
right. You say it. Beat my
Yeah.
liper. With my liper. So I interviewed Lalu Prasad Yadav. I don't know if you
Oh,
can find it on
really?
YouTube or something. Yeah, for Rock the Vote. And Raghu Rajiv, who are the roadies guys. So Raghu was a
Uh-huh.
producer. We had to camp there for 4 days in Patna. Day one, we went, sat there, met everyone. He came and said hello. He's quite sweet also. Offered us lassi, which I loved. And of course, no interview. Day two, same thing. Day three, they showed us the cricket nets. Because it was a huge mansion like Buckingham Palace. Day four, finally, he gave the interview. And he was fabulous. He spoke in English and decent English and all with his strange accent because he's an LLB. People don't know he's a proper educated
Yeah,
LLB.
yeah. He's
And then only one problem happened. I don't know what happened to those tapes. He didn't understand who we were exactly. MTP kya hai? Offline, he was saying. And then so we explained it to him. I was like, music. Achha, theek hai. And he started singing some old song, maybe KL Sehgal or something, a really old, slow song. And this is the chief minister, sitting chief minister in his residence, and we have to keep quiet and listen. And we're not for 4 minutes, and all the chamchas are going, "Bahut badhiya, sir," and all that is going on. And we couldn't cut the tape. And then Raghu's looking at me with his eyes, like, like do something. F you, I'm going to do something. I'm sitting 2 feet away from the chief minister. I'm going to boss, both ho gaya. We have to talk now. It was just ridiculous. And that's when I heard the expression wipe her because she was on the chair. All that thing was happening about the forest scam and all in the background. And he used the word wiper and caught me off guard. So he said, "But after all, she is my wiper." So I thought wiper as in car wiper, and then a minute, no, she is my wiper. And then I realized what he was saying. Yeah. These are the toughest moments when we do interviews of people like Govinda, Lalu Prasad, and all that is not laughing. Exactly what happened to you. You have no idea. And I have a crew who are all westernized, generally speaking, and they're all hanging around there, and I can see them in the periphery. Like imagine two of you are standing in the periphery, and I'm talking to this guy, and he says wiper, and Silverie breaks into a smile because he's safe behind the camera. Only I can probably see him. But then I have to make sure I don't make eye contact with any of you because if I laugh, it'll insult that guy, and then we're screwed. So Bihar, we wouldn't have come back. That's it. It was over. My last lassi. But yeah. But he was very charming. He was very interesting. He and Rajesh Pilot I really enjoyed out of the politicians I've spoken to, in the sense that you can see that they've got a lot of charisma, a lot of charm, and they handle people well because they shoot with other people around us also, so we can see how they're interacting. Very good with people. It's like a lesson. Bill Clinton. Lesson in how to handle people. Just Bill Clinton during the entire Barcelona thing, what he did with us, we were doing this whole HIV/AIDS. He was a chairperson, he and Nelson Mandela. So it was all third world countries, the top 20 countries with HIV potential, and the kids from those countries. He knew everybody. Zambia, the lady would say, "Hi, I'm Kylie from Zambia." He would start talking to the Zambian president and the problems. He was just fantastic. He came well prepared. I mean, these are countries that I didn't even hear of before that. I don't want to be rude or something. I really didn't know some of them. And he just came with his homework pat and gave the respect to each delegate who put their hand up and spoke about their country on their terms and made them feel really special because you're talking about first name basis on politicians, on political procedure, on things that are wrong or right in the country. And he was never like really looking down. He was always like just discussing.
yeah, but that's
And then you think about it, that's the gift of the politician. It may not mean he's sincere and lovely. It's just the gift of how to handle people. Fantastic.
so Bill Clinton was known for that, right? To a great extent, right? I mean, like one is people person would be really kind of like,
Yeah.
everybody loved him really. But I think one of the other really interesting things about him was just like how much he knew about all kinds of stuff. We were talking about different comics and whether we like 1 hour specials. John Mulaney has this bit in his special about how he went to a Bill Clinton fundraiser with his mother, and his mom loved Bill Clinton and his dad hated Bill Clinton. And basically, they were in college together at the same time, and his dad always thought that Bill Clinton was hitting on his mom or something like that. But it's such an amazing kind of bit that he does about this whole thing. But it really does kind of like, the guy is he's charismatic to a degree which is really, really.
Unbelievable. You got to see him at work. The closest I've seen in India like that is Shahrukh, out of the big celebrities. Very good with everyone, from the spot boy to you. He makes you feel special. He just has that
How
gift.
many
You
how
never
many
leave the.
stories came out when his birthday was there, right? When his birthday came up recently, right
Yeah,
after
yeah,
the Aryan Khan thing. How
yeah.
many people, like, I have never seen so many people say so many stories about how interacting with somebody was been awesome with them.
No, I'm telling you
Yeah.
because he never gives the body language that some stars give a certain body language to the spot guy. Lot of after we shoot with these guys, everybody wants to take photos with them, and they're very
Mhm.
intimidated. Not with Shahrukh. He'll even call them because he can see them hovering and all the way. Kya ho gaya, beta, aaja? Like that. He's super friendly.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
and again, I'm not 100% sure whether it's just pure genius with people and how sincere. I mean, I guess that doesn't really matter after some time, because what
But
is
I
the
think
intent
it.
there?
I would
Yeah.
say it is sincere, right? I would say that this kind of
No, but
stuff.
you can see it's the political nature of the beast also, right? The ones who are able to do that. The more
Right.
so-called straightforward people give you what they really feel, what you see is what you get, sort of thing, and then they'll say, "Well, we are being honest." But these guys are just fabulous. And the thing is, after a long day's work, he's still good. After 14 hours on his feet, he's still well behaved with people. He's just unbelievable.
But I think
There's
that's
no one like him. There's no one with his energy level and his nature. He's very good
yeah.
natured, generally speaking. I'm told he has a bad temper when it comes down to it, but never seen that. But like if you meet him somewhere, he goes out of his way to say hello to everyone. If somebody's mother, child wants to talk to them, if the dog comes to him, whatever, he's always attentive to that. He lives that moment properly. He's never one of those guys who runs.
I think that
Like some people are good at being stars, right? That's the thing. I think some people aren't.
He's just got that
I
gift.
They're
think
not equipped for it.
It's like Bill Clinton. He's just got you got to watch Bill Clinton and work at that show. This is the master. You're
Yeah.
watching a master. It's like a class for me. I was like taking out notes
Yeah.
in my inner mind, while watching him. It was like this is fabulous. He before the show, everybody had a medium sort of liking towards him or not. It was sort of neutral. By the end of the show, he was like Elvis. Everybody in that room was like, well, if they had to vote right then
Oh,
and there,
did
they would have voted for him. It would be
he
like
play
that.
the
Even though we're not.
saxophone at the end of it?
No, he didn't. But
That will
he
definitely help.
whistled. I think we discussed
He
this is
whistled.
cowboy.
Wow.
There's a cowboy song called El Paso, one of my favorite songs, and I know he likes country music and all. So I discussed that with him, and we whistled a couple of lines together.
Wow.
My whistle dried up very quickly because I think I prefer men. You know that story, right? If you can't whistle, you're gay. This is ridiculous. It's like how your foot
What?
size is your penis size. All these myths which are wrong, absolutely wrong. So this is other thing.
Yeah,
That
that one I've
if
heard.
you can't,
The whistling one I had not heard.
that means you
Okay.
prefer same-sex relations. And if you can, then you're heterosexual. Oh God, these are the myths of the world that make the world so interesting because with their buffoonery.
This is one I have never heard.
Yeah.
Well,
I've never heard that.
just not
no,
pushing
no.
the envelope, but can you whistle then in that case, boys?
I can whistle, but I've never heard that as a thing.
Yeah, and I'd rather not have to prove my sexuality.
Silvery, can you whistle in French or Bhojpuri?
I that's my French.
Okay, I'll
That actually is a French whistle. Because now you remember the cartoon, the Pepe Le Pew? I think he had a whistle just kind of like that. So I guess maybe it is a French whistle.
no, there's nothing like
Flipping on
that.
everything.
A whistle is a whistle. Now behave yourself, you stupid men. Unbelievably bad podcast. But before we go to a break, I want to just test your knowledge. My whistle is very. Oh, Prithvi's given us a double entendre moment, a rare thing on this show. Three boring men going through more double entendre. Silvery,
Yes.
let me test your sports knowledge. So the World Chess Championship, which is going on right now, is between which two players? Can you tell me?
Samay Raina and someone else.
You're right.
and Vishy Anand.
I'd whistle all day for you. That's what I would
Yeah.
do. Let's take a break and then come back. Come on.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Raw and Organic, Kunal is joined by his close friend, national football player and fitness trainer Jyoti and Bure. They catch up on their training sessions, the life of an athlete, and a whole lot more. On Cyrus is in conversation with Ashish Singhal, founder and CEO of CoinSwitch, to discuss CoinSwitch Kuber's journey, investing, and the cryptocurrency bill of 2021. On the Life Manifesto, Zarina decodes the Great Resignation. Let's find out why more people across the world are willing to quit their jobs. On All Things Policy, the Takshashila folks discuss the potential effects of climate change on food. And on Say No to Drama, Chetna drops some truth bombs on happiness. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. And finally, do remember that many of our shows are available on YouTube. You can check that out by going to our website, ivmpodcast.com/YouTube, where we have a list of all of our various YouTube channels. Finally, we'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda, HDFC Mutual Fund, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Intel, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Podcast is called Cock and Bull 2. But keep in mind that we do lose a lot of cock and bulls because suddenly a guest comes who's very important and we have to adjust the date and all that.
Yeah,
So in the fullness of time, the law of averages, I think we'll have enough cock and bulls where we miss one in the week. So when we have three instead of two, It's okay. It'll balance out.
We'll try and substitute a guest for Thursday. If not, we'll do Thursday again.
The guests have stopped coming.
No, guess
No, no.
cancelled. This is, yeah.
Today's
I know,
guest
looking-
cancelled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I did homework because you said read the book and there was no time to read the book, so I was going through at super speed and all that, bro. I've printed
Sorry.
things and all.
I know. So I called you up immediately as I found out.
Thing is, I know Remo, and I know he won't give any trouble on the interview. But you're going to talk
Yeah,
to some PR guy. The PR guy will read the book. Page 16, paragraph B will be checked. It's not like that. You know, he's really, he's a really lovely guy. Very. Have we have to get Biddu. Have we got him? We haven't got him.
No, we have not. We should get him.
He started the revolution. We took those names. He's
Yes,
part
we
of those
did.
names.
Yeah.
Let's get
Absolutely,
very
100%.
interesting story. He ran away with no money to England and turned, and then had one of the greatest hits of all time, Kung Fu Fighting,
Mhm.
which till today is in your head. It can't leave your head ever. Everybody go Kung Fu Fighting.
That was Biddu.
Wait,
Bidu!
no, that's not. That's an
I
American song.
do. Bidu.
He was a-
Kurgi
he was a
boy,
pre-
Kurgi boy from Bangalore. That's him.
Oh wow, he was a
Yeah. He was a toast of England after that. He became a big hit and he was in a cocktail circuit of London.
interesting.
Very much so. He has a proper English
Well,
accent.
I
And
remember him-
I
great
thought the
guy.
original was Carl Douglas.
Great
Is it
guy.
not?
No, you can keep your Carl Douglas. Kung Fu Fighting. is
I
Bidu.
remember him from like the disco dancer and that kind of stuff, right? He was part of that.
No, Disco Dancer is the other two. But yeah, from that era.
No, Kurbani. He was a Kurbani guy. He made the Kurbani music.
कुर्बानी 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 अल्लाह को प्यारे है कुर्बानी. Right.
Yeah. That was.
Silverie? Silverie, Vinod
I
Khanna,
don't know
Feroz
that song.
Khan.
I don't know. That
Get
song.
out!
One sec. You don't know
What?
the movie Kurbani or you don't know the song Kurbani?
No, you won't
Either.
know.
I don't think I know either of them.
You won't know.
Hey man.
It's
don't
80s,
know
Baba.
what's
How
there.
will you know? It's unlikely. And by the time
Yeah,
these guys
but-
grew up, Amit, there's no Sunday morning TV or any of that stuff. So
Yeah,
you
I
know
guess
that
that's
where
true.
the repeat films would come and also. Now, unless he's watching Star Gold or something, which I don't think this man who likes Bill Burr
I mean,
will be watching.
no. Sometimes, as a kid, I would watch Star Gold, and Star Gold. I said. Star Gold. CVO was a good channel. I
Wait,
remember.
let's.
These were like
Arpit is giving us
B-grade
a
films.
backhanded slap again for no reason, upset with his day. Accents and songs, two things which don't happen well on this podcast. We will now, what about the whistle? The whistle passed the test. You can see, guys, sandwich between those two was the whistle. So that was good. Sorry,
Yeah.
you were saying, Kurbani?
I was
No,
saying
I-
Antariksh thing.
Okay.
Antariksh stuff.
He was giving. Sorry, what were you saying, Silverie?
About Kurbani, I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Have you ever seen a Feroz Khan movie?
Feroz Khan. I've seen. Welcome.
That's Fardeen.
Well,
He was in Welcome.
that's Fardeen. That's not Feroz.
Fardeen Khan.
No, you're thinking of his dad. No, Fardeen Khan's dad.
Yeah.
Feroz Khan. He's in Welcome. He's one of the.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the Don,
He
the
is?
big Don. Yeah.
Okay, all
What's his
right.
name?
That doesn't
RDX. RDX is his name.
That doesn't count, dude.
Reduced
know,
to
I know.
RDX, playing a Don.
I haven't seen a single outing of his single.
Vinod Khanna? So I think because Amitabh
Vinod
being larger
Khanna.
than Amitabh, he
I've
knows,
seen-
but he doesn't know the Vinod Khanna.
must
that-
have-
No,
that
I've
era.
seen some. I've seen Amar Akbar Anthony. Isn't that Vinod Khanna?
No, but
That
that's
is
because of
Vinod Khanna.
Amitabh you've seen that. I'm seeing Vinod Khanna films as a single hero. Do you know any? You won't know. So that's more 80s.
No, I have not seen
Which is
that.
later, in the 90s, yeah.
I have not. No.
Wow.
Always it. Huh,
Oh man, I'm feeling old. Like feeling really, really old right now.
really. And I'm feeling so bad that we have to try so hard. When we have to try so hard, you know that it's not his fault also. It's just a generation.
No, it's not. It's
Yeah.
just but I mean, like Feroz Khan was iconic, right? I mean,
Huge.
like
Vinod
He
Khanna,
was-
huge.
yeah, but I mean, Vinod Khanna is a traditional Bollywood hero in many ways, right? But Feroz Khan was just something different, right?
Yeah.
There was nobody else like him. He was just he
There
was
there
awesome,
wasn't. He was too flamboyant and too.
man.
I mean, he's from another world altogether. He was just living like one of those perhaps rock and roll stars of the 70s or 60s from the West. But yeah, well, anyway, Silverie, it's not your fault. You just whistle a Bhojpuri song and get Arpit. I think we want to win Arpit back. It seems a little upset about all these bad accents that are going on. What is the problem with this Arpit? Why he not like our accent? Why we not try to make up our own accent now, all of us? All right. Should we go into
Yeah.
AMAs?
Yes,
okay.
let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
yesterday
go.
we had to curtail it because Kashan was just going on and on about his life in Prabhadevi and not giving us a chance. And his role model was Kunal, another bloody bizarre, mysterious man with no wife in his 70s, hanging around Prabhadevi. What is wrong with Prabhadevi? Is no one married? Kashan should take a leave.
Take a leave.
Yeah, take a break for a few
Prabhadevi.
days. Yeah, good. Fair enough. I agree.
Alright.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
All right, Amos. The first one
Yeah,
comes in
yeah.
from Berserk. He says, "Hi Cyrus. Some 3 months back, you shamed the youth for not reading, and that pushed me to start reading. I have already read 7 books since sci-fi to classic. Can you recommend some more books to a new reader?"
Well, I've got the Ian Botham biography, the redone one, which I've got it right now, and the Michael Holding book on racism, which is not, it's only on racism. People think it's a cricket book. It's not a cricket book at all. So those two books are with me at the moment. But I think the real reader amongst us is Amit Doshi. And since he's gone into sci-fi and all that, I mean, we're going more to his genres. Go ahead, Amit.
I have a lot of recommendations in science fiction. So first, I would highly recommend. This is not science fiction. This is Fantasy, but the Wheel of Time TV show is out right now. It's a great TV show, but if you want to read the books are about a billion times better than the TV show is. So
What is the basic premise?
of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy story of 5 kids who come out from a village, one of whom is destined to save the world, and the other 4 also become extremely powerful as time goes on.
This sounds like the BJP story. I know this. I've
It,
heard this before. Yeah.
it very well could kind of be, but yeah, no, I would for anybody who hasn't read that, I would strongly recommend reading that. It's a lot of reading, but it's amazing. I would say from sci-fi, I was reading the Three Body Problem recently. That's really good. I can't remember the name. It's a Chinese book, translated, but really good
Sec-
story. This is not
Again,
one of the martial arts stories. This is not one of the martial arts books. That's
do you
fantasy.
know how much Chinese culture influences you and it's against the law in India at the
I
moment?
know, but this is a
Uh,
really deep science fiction book, right? I mean, like it's a hard sci-fi book. It's not like a soft sci-fi book, so it's really cool on that. The Expanse is really good.
there's a great fiction, piece of fiction, Chinese piece of fiction called Jinping on Democracy. Fabulous. Read that.
That is always fun as well. Yeah, I mean, I think sci-fi. That's all I got. I got a bunch of fantasy and crime if
I
people
mean,
want
the
that.
sci-fi still rock. Like in the 80s and 90s, I felt that sci-fi was a huge genre. All my pals were
It
into
is.
sci-fi and all that.
It
Does it
is.
still exist? Or is
It
it
does.
being taken over?
No, no. It very much exists. But I think what's happened is that sci-fi genres have hardened, right? So what used to happen is you used to have this broad sci-fi category. You'd have big thinkers like Asimov, who would like kind of write like stories like Foundation, right? But then you would also have a lot of guys who are writing stories like Blade Runner.
Sorry to interrupt. But my lit teacher used to call him Hijack. I just can't say Isaac. And after that, it was very tough for me to listen to because Hijack Asimov.
No,
Sorry.
but then
Yeah.
besides Asimov, you had a bunch of lesser, not lesser exactly, but guys like Philip K. Dick, Ray Bradbury, who were more personal stories and not like these kind of big thinky things, right? Arthur Clarke Asimov write the big stuff. These guys, but now what's happened is that
But those are
oh,
where the modern writers.
modern writers have kind of really tightened down into certain areas. Like, so there's this guy named John Scalzi who I really enjoy, but he writes this kind of humorous sci-fi in a very personal storyish kind of way. Like one of my favorite books that he has ever written is I think it's called Red Shirts. It's basically it's like a fake Star Trek kind of thing, but basically where the red shirts become the commanders. Then he wrote another one about like retired people and how they kind of go in through this kind of rejuvenation process, and then they become soldiers. But they're all written kind of humorously, tongue in cheek. So there are people like that. There are people like Anne Leckie who write like insane sci-fi, right? Like Anne Leckie has this. I'm sorry, the name of the series is escaping me, but the main character of the series is the AI who used to control a massive battleship, who has escaped now into a small body, and that's the main character of the series. So it's what's happened in sci-fi is it's become very kind of like either really hardcore or really space opera like Star Wars and stuff like that.
You know, for my simple mind, if the premise is so difficult to understand before you dig into the actual plot and what happens after that, I'm like, I just have to understand the premise of who the person is, who the antagonists and protagonists are, one body going into another, and one going from one time to another time zone, and oh god, sometimes it's a little bit too much for my simple head. So
So
I'll stick to my biographies.
I enjoy fantasy. I enjoy sci-fi. It's not that I don't, but I think I pick up. I read fantasy more simply for that reason too, right? Because sci-fi needs to be grounded somewhat in reality. And the thing is that the more fantastical the take, or the more out there it is, the less grounded it seems sometimes, or it gets really bogged down in the technicalities of things. right? One of those two things become kind of a challenge, I feel, and that's why I
That's
just enjoy
one way to look
this.
at it. The other way, is it a good read or not? Whether it's too fantasy
Yeah,
driven or whether you
absolutely.
can relate to it or not. Some of them are just good reads, some aren't. Silver, you haven't said a
Yes.
word about books also beyond your generation. I haven't seen any of you guys read.
Uh, I mean, I don't read much. Yes, true. But again, I've said this before. But the last book I did read was like what 3-4 years back, and it was Altered Carbon, which then got made into a TV show also.
That was a great
But
TV show. I
that was
never saw the book. I never read that book, but that was a great
the book
TV
is
show.
great. I've
How
never
sad you
seen the
wasted
TV
your
show.
time reading a book which is going to be made into a
Because
TV show.
yeah,
Damn
I
you.
know, right?
Damn
Damn
you.
it.
Next,
Uh,
Wasted.
but again, somebody's also brought.
obviously, bulky book, 1,000 pages. Fuck, you was the only thing written in the book. There you go.
Vikram Singh also makes a recommendation which I would highly, highly, highly support.
Which is?
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It's the original sci-fi book. It's the first
And
sci-fi
remember,
book.
it's not Dr. Frankenstein. Frankenstein. Yeah.
Yeah,
Frankenstein's
Okay.
monster is Frankenstein. Frankenstein is Dr. Frankenstein, right?
correct.
Just to clear
Yes.
that up. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Have you read Frankenstein, Silvery? These are all from our.
I've not. I've seen Frankenstein in various medium.
God, we've become those people we hated. Apna zamana mein. Amit, that's what we do. We catch the young kid here and they just go on irritating him. Do you know Vinod Khanna? Do you know nahi? Apna zamana mein. Yeah,
That's
oh
right.
God,
That's
damn.
right.
I never wanted to be
Yeah,
that guy. I hated that
I
guy.
know,
Growing
but
up.
what can you do, man? I mean, like, what can you do? There are things that
I have a friend who's just 2 years younger than me. He literally just last week I was talking to him. He doesn't know who Manisha Koirala is. He's never heard of Manisha Koirala.
that is
And he's
insane.
he's been in India. He's stayed in Jaipur his entire life. He's not like he
But is he a Bollywood buff?
went to the US or something.
Because if he's not a Bollywood buff, then I would excuse it a little bit. Because if he's grown up watching Hindi
I mean,
films, then it'd
but
be.
still, if you grew up, you should at least know.
See, she's not been in a film for like maybe 10 years, I would think.
Yeah, but again, 2 years younger than Antariksh means 25 years old, right? And Manisha was making movies
Yeah.
like
No,
into
I'm
the
29, 27 now.
you're 27. Okay.
I- into 2010 around, somewhere there.
Ah,
Not after that. She was
yeah,
sick and
Manisha
all.
was making movies like what was that movie with
Because
Madhuri and her?
I called her up to star in a movie with me, but at that point she
No,
just quit.
all
Some
right.
say that's the reason. We don't know. We have to look at it from different angles. We'll see. Yeah. But that is it's a commentary on us, not you or your generation. It's a commentary on us because we are struggling to cope and can't understand why you don't understand who we
His
understand.
company is like,
You know.
just don't know anything. Nobody knows anything.
I told you this show will only survive on people taking shots at us. So just enjoy it. We have to change the name. Okay, next one.
All right. Next one, Alfie G says, I have a Honda. What I do is accumulate all the bumps and scrapes. Then at the end of the year, repair the whole thing. What do you think about?
But that's what most people do.
I think it's
You sort of wait for it to accumulate because you spend a little less money doing that. But if you're into the aesthetics of the car, like say my wife is, if anything happens, she wants it repaired. Well, what are you going to do? I'm okay with this technique. Alfie, I'm with you. I would say let's do that. Let it accumulate because you will save money. But then, there are scratches. One tail light is missing in Amit's case and all that. And then, that piles up. You would be okay with it aesthetically. Practically okay.
so
It's working.
I
The
would
car
have
moves.
been I'd have been okay with the slight bang and the scratches and stuff like that, but the
Hey,
broken
watch your
taillight.
mouth. Go on.
What did I
Sorry.
say? Okay, but the slight bang and scratches. Okay, all right, I got it. Took me a while. Took me a
One
while.
generation. Apna zamana mein this wouldn't happen.
But the broken taillight, I had to fix that, right? I mean, I'd be okay with the other stuff, right? And I probably would have let it go for the full year. But broken taillight, you got to fix. You can't not fix that.
But there are enough people like the wife who just want, if there's a scratch, we got to go, the car goes. I lose a car for a day, minimum, immediately. What are you going to do? And that means our cost to company goes up every time. That irritating cost to company, maybe even 5 grand, 3 grand, 2 grand, but it
Yep.
piles up and the whole day mood goes. Because
Yep.
you're thinking about that 2 grand, even if you're making 10 lakhs that day, that 2 grand gets into your system like a cancer, festers, then kills you slowly.
If I was making 10 lakhs in a given day, I don't think I'd worry about 2 grand.
No, it doesn't work that way. It's not relative. It's just you just feel that loss. What I'm saying is otherwise everyone can say, look, I'm worth 10 crores and what is 2,000 rupees? Nobody thinks like that.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Except Silvery. The
Still.
fucking generation we don't understand. Doesn't know who Feroz Khan is. Get out of the class.
Oh.
You don't know Feroz Khan. Don't
Welcome.
talk to
I know
parents.
Feroz Khan.
Don't talk to
I know. I
parents.
just haven't seen his films. I know Feroz Khan. So Feroz Khan is fact slapped in a hotel reception for not recognizing him. You are lucky. Really? Is that true?
I
Wow.
Who
don't
says you
know,
don't
but
read
I would
Silvery?
buy it.
You just read that.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, anything is possible.
With again, Feroz Khan was such an insane character that it's
Hey, not to take his
What?
side, but we don't know the context here. Between the slapping of the thing and whatever, it's a bit like that famous what's the car guy, Jeremy Clarkson. You got to see
Huh.
the
Yeah.
entire context. Okay, before he lashed out, we cannot defend him lashing out. There's a lot of stuff that happened between him and that production guy, which went on. If you study the whole story, and so that was the end, the zenith of all their kunness between them, etc., etc. Should have hit him, of course, another story. But
Yeah.
I'm saying it's not as innocent as it seems. So we don't know. So if you just read a sentence which says "rich flamboyant star slaps reception," it just sounds like oh, there you go. It's almost like leftist India rising again. How dare you?
But you have heard of the stars who throw their weight around also. So anything can be possible.
Yeah.
No, anyone can lose their temper, Silverie. You've got to
Yeah.
understand that. Mother Teresa
Of
could have
course,
gone
yeah, that's
nuts
true.
one day, kicked a few people. We don't know for sure. So I'm
That's
just
actually
saying we
true.
should always get the perspective from different sides and all that. And that's my
Yeah.
word for the day. I'm going to get flack for that now. He's used perspective instead of percentile. Let's replace the P for a P. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I think we don't hang the guy. We always hang guys in a hurry. Especially in this country. I just feel like, not just because we like Feroz Khan, but I'm just let's hear the other side. Because I told you, I
Well,
met him naked, which is something special. Really, I've told you this story. Don't make me repeat it. When he
I've heard
came
the
out of the
story.
pool, I mean, that was just
I
too
have
much.
heard
I
the
mean,
story.
then he went up in my esteem by 10,000 points. I was like, this is a real star. Now the rest are rubbish. But they're not going to do this, And he didn't do it with just a semblance of any self, grandeur or arrogance or anything. He just did it naturally. I swim naked with my Labrador in the pool. Screw you. This is my life. And I lot of respect. But I wish I had a pool and me and my dog swimming naked. I mean, that's the real sense of it's not a Garib Desh anymore. India has
Yeah.
arrived. Prime Minister to take note. When we swim naked with our dogs in the pool, we are a happy country. Yeah. Well, except Munawar and a couple of others who won't be allowed to. They'll have to swim with a float because somebody might. Next.
Right. Next one. Pranav Shetty says, I stay in Hiranandani Powai. It's still better than majority of places in Mumbai. I would
Hey,
agree. That is
I
it's a nice
recently shot
area.
in Powai. I spent 3 days last year, 2020 end, and I
But which
really
part of
liked it.
Powai? Which part of Powai
So
were you
I
in?
told you that Lord of the Rings we were shooting there. Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Drinks.
Lord of the
We were
Drinks. Huh.
shooting there, and then around there,
Yeah,
they're on the
that's
road
Hirandani Hut.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, proper. And I just like the expanse, and it seemed orderly. And like I said, we saw no beggars, no poor people. Sorry, and
But it's yeah, you do,
so
but
in that
there
way,
are some.
it's so different from say my life in so-called posh South Mumbai, which is just falling apart. The sense of falling apart versus everything seems to be functioning and looking okay aesthetically, not the most pleasing. But Mr. Hiranandani is my neighbor, and they've got their own aesthetics and whatever. We won't get into that. But it definitely looked like a much better energy than ours. So I've got no complaints. If I could live my life again and everything was in Powai and around the area, even if I have to go to Marol to pick up, food and stuff, I think it's not a bad idea. What do you think, Amit?
Yeah, Powai is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I like Powai fine.
If you like efficiency, it's got a certain efficiency to it.
Yeah. Well, it
Yeah,
is. Well,
wrong because
Yeah,
I
it is
am.
true.
I think that
Yeah,
is true, right? Most people think of Powai as Bombay because they see Powai in most movies as like what Bombay is, and
Yeah,
Powai is not Bombay in that sense.
not
That
at
that
all.
I think is
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
true.
That's true.
But and
Yeah.
I think Powai is fine, right? I mean, like it's a nice place, it's a nice area. It's far as hell, but I mean, if you
Yeah.
can get there at the right time in the morning, it's not that bad traffic wise.
Yeah, the other day, talking about our generation, I asked this 12-year-old kid in my neighborhood, do you know who built Powai? And he said, Sharad Powai. I mean, really?
That's not
Ask
Wait,
exactly
yourself.
untrue.
We don't know.
That's
Uh,
probably not it. Just the timing and stuff
he's
like
my
that. It's
neighbor,
probably not
four
exactly
buildings
untrue.
down. So they don't leave their building. They stay in this building called Kanta. I think it's named after the grandmother or
they don't
something.
stay in their own building.
Grandfather was a big dog lover and a doctor. They don't
They
leave the
don't
building.
stay
It's a
Hirandani Powai.
superstition. No, so they don't. He leaves at 8 in the morning to go there. He goes to Powai every day.
Oh, wow.
But
Oh.
sometimes he walks. Niranjan walks in the evening, and I say hi to him when I'm walking my dogs. He's on the phone and all this. I've known him all my life. He's a very pleasant guy and all that. But they don't leave the building. Apparently, it's because of superstition. When you do well, some people don't give up that car. Have you met people like that?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think they buy
Yeah,
new
yeah.
cars. I mean, they're worth crores and all that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they don't
yeah.
let
I
the
know.
old car go.
Old
Yeah.
car, old property. They'll just no
Yeah.
matter what, they'll sit
Of
on it
course, it's
forever.
reversed with the wife. They let the old wife go and get a newer one with the money and extension and prosperity. So that's odd, though. But yeah, so superstition is so powerful, guys. Come on, just think about it. Find some rich friend of yours, and you will not be able to break the superstition that's linked to their success. Not whether it's going to a Shri or whatever it is. It just won't happen. It's the way it is.
I have a very close friend, guy who I really enjoy in most contexts, but he does this every freaking day. Not every day, but this is what he does, right? He comes back when he's coming back from the suburbs to town. He does not take the ceiling. He comes via Dadar. There's that temple, the circular
Yeah, yeah,
temple behind
yeah,
Plaza Temple. So
yeah.
he'll drive his car over there, 3 rounds with the car around the temple, and then he will
There
come
you
home
go.
after that.
Can you believe that?
Every
I
single
don't.
day.
But otherwise, a very
Whenever
rational
he's
man
coming back,
with very good
whenever he's
decisions.
Oh, okay.
yeah, whenever he's coming
Oh.
back from the suburbs, he won't take the sea link. He'll do this instead, and he always travel like this. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, but when you're worth 25,000 crores, suddenly your fear is attached to that. It's irrational, but that's the way human beings are. What are you going to do? So anyway, so they stay in that same building, which is way below their pay grade, to be honest. But that's the decision. Chalo, next.
All right. Harvesh asks, hello all. Question for Cyrus. Do
But where is Kashin Shetty? What the hell? He just
Kashin is
disappeared on
taking a day
us.
off, I think.
He really
He's
took a day off.
actually
How dare he? And how sad
It's
this is.
fine.
Oh, you appear on the show and you disappear forever. Do you understand what it states for us?
No, he's in the chat. I know I've seen him before. I've seen him there. Yeah, I've seen him today. He's in the chat.
Okay, cool.
He's in the chat. He's
So
in the chat.
Harvesh asks, hello all. Question for Cyrus. Do Oz or OZ start as favorites to win the Ashes? So that's for you.
Big game tomorrow, guys. Big game. Brisbane. They've come back after 35 years. They didn't lose, and India beat them after 35 years on the Holy Citadel. So, yeah, getting rid of Ben Simmons.
So that's for
Yeah.
Amit. I was going to ask that later. Question for Amit is, do you see Sixers getting rid of Ben Simmons this season?
NBA.
Will it be fair
Yeah.
to say he has almost sabotaged their season?
So he has not sabotaged their season because they're fucking awesome. They won today in the morning again. They've lost only 2 games with Joel Embiid, who is their best player. So he's not sabotaged their season, and they will definitely get rid of him, especially after Dame put out a story yesterday saying that he wants to play with Ben Simmons. So a trade is going to happen now. Now, basically, I think everything that this guy wanted to do, the GM wanted to do, is starting to play out. The NBA season, we're starting to find out there are a bunch of teams that suck and are not that good, and because of that, they're going to want better players, or they want Ben Simmons. So now the market is starting.
But we, guys, sorry, we have to get Harvesh on because he's on all the time. I don't know how to pronounce the name correctly. Sounds
Yeah.
always Parsi, with the VSP together. Harvesh. As against Harvesh or Harvesh or Harvep. We'll figure that out when he comes on. We have to get him on for sure. Quickly about Australia, England. England actually started as favorites for me because they've had a lot of preparation time. The Aussies, thanks to Australia's madness with quarantine, win the World Cup in Dubai, then come back home to Sydney for 14 days quarantine. So they have literally 7 or 8 days for prep. We're stuck in a freaking hotel for 14 days. I mean, what kind of world are we living in? You win a World Cup. No, you don't have that cavalcade. You don't have that parade. You don't have people around you. You sit with room service, leave the machine outside, and I'll, pay for it. So, yeah. So I think unless the rest helps them, but generally speaking, it's England's. I can tell from your expressions you aren't interested whether it's England or Australia. So, yeah, I mean, you're not interested when India's playing. So you can imagine when I tell you England versus Australia. Why am I wasting my time? Does Silverie know the Ashes? Of course, you know what the Ashes are.
Yeah. It's when you die and there are like
The way you pronounce Oz, you struggle with
when they
Oz.
burn your body, right?
But that's because you have to read. Harvesh, because you have to read. Reading is the issue. Bolo?
Yeah, it's when your body's cremated, there are like some remains, right? And then you're like put
Stop
them.
it. Sahil has beaten you to it with a better piece of comedy. Any guy who smokes up surely knows about the Ashes. Now, let's come
Yeah.
to smokes up. Since cricket isn't your thing and basketball isn't your thing, let's go to the sport which is. I see now.
Is chess a sport? You were asking a question about chess. One, I don't think we got the answer to
Chess
that.
is,
But
of course, a sport.
is
yeah.
chess a sport?
So my point there is I was trying to write a skit only on the name of the challenger, who's playing against Magnus Carlsen, who's been this generation's greatest player and who's leading at the moment. And so this guy's name, guys, is impossible. They call him Nepo, but I tried my best to learn it by heart and I can't. So I'm doing a whole gag in my TV show where you just have to say his name because it's just ridiculous. It's Ian, Nepo, and then it's impossible. Just impossible. No one can handle it. So there's so much. So you want to promote chess and you've got names like that. How are we going to promote anything? It should be Billy versus Johnny and boom, we have a chance. No, that never happens. By the way, I'm a big chess fan. I love chess.
You are no, so I'm
He's
not a
written
big.
it perfectly. Nepom. There's a M followed by N, which makes it very tough to spin.
Nepom
Niachchi.
Niachchi.
Yeah.
Niachchi. Not that difficult. Nepom Niachchi.
Okay. Now I'm going to do this. The next time you have a cock and bull, you're going to tell me their name, just off the cuff.
Nepom
No
Niachchi.
planning. Yeah.
But dude, I have to have some context about the guy. Now I just try to pronounce it based on spelling.
You're not going to remember Magnus Carlsen. There's no way you're going to put this together. For God's sake. There goes chess. Can we take a couple more?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sai Ki says, How's your experience as a judge of Roadies audition? But I think that
Huh?
was Sahukar, if I'm not wrong. Is it?
Saiki is Saukar.
Yeah. No, it's not. But how it says, how was your experience as a judge of Roadies auditions?
No, I judge quite a bit. About
You
5
did?
days of judging I've done in the
Oh,
past.
really?
Whenever somebody felt sick, I had to go emergency in the early
Oh,
days.
wow. How's that?
So yeah, so I did in Chandigarh twice. I remember once in Bombay and once in Bangalore. Then I remember maybe a little more than that. So yeah, it's horrible, a horrible experience because for someone like me, it's a horrible experience because I can't stop laughing. Because some of the people who come there, not to be insensitive, but they're really stupid. Some of them are really okay, relatable, and they're just putting on an act and a show to try and get on the show, which is totally relatable, like any boy in Lokanwala with a tight T-shirt. But some of them were really, I felt bad. They were real victims.
But
They're victims of life.
I get it.
And you
But that's
could
why
see the
Roadies
producers.
auditions. That's why Roadies auditions was so
No, but
funny,
they were
right?
the ones
Because
who
of these
wanted the
people.
most. The ones who would say like, "What do you want to do with your life? I want to be a roadie."
Roadie.
That would be the answer, and then you're already on the
रोडी
right.
बनेगा तू रोटी बनेगा
No, I remember Raghu asked this guy, though, 10 साल आगे सोचो, फिर क्या होगा, फिर क्या करेगा लाइफ में? And he said, फिर भी रोडी बन जाऊंगा. फिर भी रोडी बन जाऊंगा. That means every year you're coming back as you get into your 30s to audition for roadies. You're 40 with 4 kids, your grandfather, you're auditioning for roadies. That's your, yeah. But the worst part is, I remember one grandfather, I was leaving, I had to leave early to catch a flight back because we had to shoot something in Bombay. So they put me on an evening flight back in early morning. No, Chandigarh had an afternoon flight at that point. So I had to cram everything for 5-6 hours and take some late flight back. And yeah, and I was trying to rush from the hotel. The car's not there. I'm standing with the bag down and one production guy. And this grandfather comes up to me and says, Sarji, kuch karo na Akhilesh ke liye. And I said, who's Akhilesh? One of the guys was called Akhilesh. The grandfather is begging for him to be chosen, saying he's speaking in Punjabi, so very tough for me to follow. But he's basically saying that he has no future. Please help him. I'm not lying, huh? I'm not lying. I could make out that much from my broken Hindi Punjabi. But he was saying he has no future. So if he doesn't get this job in Roadies, we are finished. Something like that. Was an old man, huh? And he felt really bad because he's an old man. He looked very sincere. But I thought, imagine if your own grandfather, the one person who backs you for life is your grandfather, even more than your father, because that once removed allows him to have even more confidence. So grandfather backs you for life. Grandfather thinks there's no hope for you if you don't go beyond this audition and roadies. Then, I mean, really, what can we say?
Do contestants from roadies become like influencers or things like that as they
No,
go ahead? Is there
some
anything
of
of
them
that nature?
become
So out
very
of
popular.
130, 2 years ago, they counted some 130 that appeared. 4 were successful in various
Oh
forms.
wow.
One won a Big Boss and disappeared. And then you have Ayushman, you have Ranvijay, who was the first season, so don't count him really. You have Barney and a couple of others, and that's it. Where are the rest?
And Malaika, right?
Malaika's
Malaika
not
Arora.
roadies.
Then Nikhil Chinappa.
Malaika's not a.
No,
They
sorry,
are
these
Roadies.
are
I'm thinking of MTV hosts. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay, now
Roadies,
you're
Roadies.
fired.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's something wrong with you. Forget Feroz Khan. This is the bottom line. Malaika and Roadies, are you mad?
I mixed the two up. I was thinking of MTV. I was thinking of all MTV hosts.
That's
But yeah,
different.
correct.
That's a different story.
But even like I'm curious
Yeah.
about there's a big space for micro influencers now, right? Which are influencers who are not like
Yeah.
millions of followers, but 20,000, 30,000 followers, those
And they're
kinds,
also
right?
temporary phenomenons, no? Because for a
Yeah,
season they're big and
Yeah.
then they sort of fade out. So they
correct.
might be. It's definitely a very
Yeah, no, I wonder if there are opportunities for that at this point in time, right? In the sense that,
the biggest. Sorry, go on.
no, I'm just saying, fame's a drug in some ways, but fame also leads
No, so
to,
going with this whole instant Insta
yeah,
fame, which stays for a little while and then disappears, that is there for sure. I'm 100% sure. But Raghu Rajiv, especially Raghu, for me, I think that was the most painful memory of Roadies. Is he started keeping a bodyguard because he felt people were going to beat him up. And we
Oh,
did some
wow.
event in Pali Hill about 3-4 years ago. He's a lovely guy. I love both the boys, but I was like, who's this man standing with us? There was a guy in a safari suit standing while they're taking pictures for something that we were shooting, stills, 2-hour shoot in Pali Hill, in friggin' Bandra West with rich people everywhere. I'm like, who the hell targeting man? The other day in the bar, one guy came and challenged me and all that. I'm like, really? Oh, wow, he feels like he's a member of the opposition. Wherever he goes, he's persecuted. All because he screams at people on roadies, which honestly, after 3 or 5 minutes, you'll start doing. Because sometimes you ask a question and they've already prepared an answer, so the answer's got nothing to do with the question. And you ask them a
yeah.
question about world awareness, Indian awareness, social awareness, things like that. The person is just thrown. So we were attracting the wrong people. 50% of the people we were attracting were, like strange. Some were really nice, but some were really strange. And then how much, after some time, how can you not punch down? It's just human nature. It's like our show. Look at the way they punch down at us. One after another, comment after comment, tongue in cheek. F you, F this, F that. The accent. And Silverie, now they're going after you more than me. So I'm very happy. You're the brunt. Not to worry.
Roadies does not represent India, just like Powai is in Mumbai.
Sahil now suddenly
Sahil
turns out to be a statesman. Suddenly it's Nehru's writings, letters to my daughter.
Yeah.
Just like
What was
Powai is
it?
in
What
Mumbai.
was his comment? Can you read it out for the listeners?
Yeah. Read it out again. Roadies does not.
Roadies does not represent India, just like Powai isn't Mumbai.
That's true. Otherwise, it would be Powai Indians in the IPL, and that would be very confusing. Just a thought.
There's a great question, Rahul Chaudhary, very bizarre, but he says, all three of you, does your palm grow hair?
Well,
What?
I have hair coming out of
Yeah, it's
my
very.
callus.
You do?
You know, because
Really?
my callus that I have because of training, weight training, and rusty bars. So what happens is there, I had a hair coming. It was very painful, but it gave me something to do on a Sunday. I was just trying to take it out. An hour or two went in that, so I was grateful in a way.
But isn't hairy palms?
I don't know, but
It's
it was
a-
stuck
it's a
inside. So I don't even know if it was a natural hair or somebody else's hair or
Okay,
carpet hair.
I think you guys are taking this seriously. I think he's making a comment like basically it's don't masturbate or your hands will.
It's making exactly a facetious comment, and then we've
Yeah.
gone forward with it. So in a sense, we've done the whole gamut there. We've gone
Okay.
from fake fantasy to
Uh,
real,
Ba-
and then
basically,
parody,
yeah,
I have a
that,
that, and then back again.
yeah. So
Amit, I'm ahead of the
yeah,
class.
okay.
Oh, but my sorry is true, by the way. Now let me see your hands. Let's see how rough your hands are.
Oh,
Silvery,
mine. I work in
Mine,
an office,
mine, are,
dude. My hands
mine are,
are
you guys look like you've never
mulayam.
done any
yeah,
labor.
mine
I
are
look like
quite,
real
yeah,
labor
correct.
class. You see this?
I have calluses on my fingertips, not on my this, right?
You
Because
get it
of
from the
hitting the
bar.
keyboard over and over
The
again.
skin is dead. You can burn it and you feel nothing. But the thing is, we
Okay.
go outside it, I feel a lot. So it's just a small area. So be careful. But again, these are things to do to kill time. I must tell you the things the rich
Yes.
do in India, not the rich, but the middle class. Oh, wish I was rich. Shall we take one more?
Yes,
Yeah,
last one.
this one's hilarious. Tarun Kaushik says, did you guys see the news where a UP politician broke a coconut on a newly built road, but the road cracked instead of the coconut? Looks like a typical Jaspal Bhatti comedy.
Yeah, I want to do this story, bro. Tarun, can I use this story for the show? This is just too good. I got to check it out. I mean, this is just, you have to do this. Oh, this
Oh
is
wow. Okay.
fantastic.
Wow. Yeah. This is.
Yeah, BJP MLA smashes coconut on road and for its inauguration breaks road.
Does it break with the coconut? Because that'll be too much. Or just
It
breaks in the
must
fullness
not.
of time.
That's what. Basically,
Yeah.
you're smashing the coconut and breaks. That they must
Yeah.
mean that the road must have cracked, no?
Wow. Man, I need
As in,
this.
I'm sure the road didn't get destroyed, but I mean, like you know, like you
No, a
probably
crack is a
destroyed
crack.
some.
That's
Yeah.
destroyed. You redo that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it fell through. Wow, that's
Wow.
fabulous. And talk about the coconut. How powerful is that?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I
Lovely
know.
story. Yeah.
That is incredible.
And where
No,
did,
but it's also it's everything, no, dude. It's like this need to inaugurate everything. Yeah, dude. It's a first point
and
article,
also
first post article.
without being a regionalist, where does it happen?
But that's
All lower
but
roads lead to, no pun
yeah,
intended.
all roads lead up,
Yeah.
basically. But
Jaspal
it
Bhatti, if he survived a little
Yeah.
longer, I mean, he'd have
Is
had
it-
so much more to write about because it's almost like he had less and he was doing so much work with it in the 70s and
Yeah.
80s. And now you turn back to here now and he'd be like, man, I can't stop writing. It's everywhere. There's a coconut following.
this is amazing. It's everything though, right? Road construction in UP, which is its
Yeah.
own kind of thing right now, right?
Yeah.
The photographs that are coming from abroad saying that these are roads in UP, that's
Yeah.
stuff that happened more than once, right?
Yeah.
Then you have like
The psycho fancy behind going and calling the big
and
man to inaugurate a
inaugurate a
friggin' road.
road.
Why?
Exactly.
Where in the world do you inaugurate roads? Just build a bloody road and say, okay, now drive. That's it. No, look, chief guest nahi mila. This is the famous Wali ceiling. They didn't have a chief guest.
Yeah.
So they didn't open it for many days.
Yeah,
Because you couldn't get the right chief guest. What? Who cares about your bloody chief guest? Let us go through.
well, even over here, I remember the same thing happened on one of the highway, Western Highway flyovers. The flyover was ready for like a month. They didn't open it because the chief minister was not available to inaugurate. I'm like, are you
Can you
kidding
imagine?
me?
Really? So you can't use the
Yeah.
road, the utility product of the world, the most utilitarian product of the world. Testosterone levels are going down. Okay. Is that the end of the show, boys?
That's it.
Yes.
Arpit Bansal has to
You want to do
say.
one more? We can do one more.
No, he's
I have
a,
a next thing at 11:30.
Arpit Bansal says, cock and bulls are amazing. Don't mind them at all. Thank you so much. Arpit.
Okay, cool.
Very good.
That's good to hear.
Don't praise us now at the end. That's a horrible feeling then. Then you have
Okay.
a fake sense of greatness and all that. And then the moment I meet my wife, everything changes. So can we just be normal? Let's end with an insult. Silverie, your
Sure.
accent sucked. Something like that.
Okay.
Can you just quickly send a message to yourself so we can end the show with that?
Trying to find an insult.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Okay.
they're in there. We don't have to search too deep.
Ah,
He's an influencer now.
Big
Yes.
Antariksh is an influencer now. That's right.
Yes.
An influencer with a fake French accent which starts Italian and goes Bhojpuri. Man, that's special. This is wow. Like Kunal,
Alright.
I'll just say Kunal is invented by default a South Indian accent, which is the most racist thing you can say because there's no such thing as a South Indian accent. Okay, so it starts as a Malayali of sorts. Okay, keep in mind in Kerala there are many different Malayali accents, so we don't even get into that skill. Okay, Malayali of sorts, and it goes Bengali. It goes east, more east, goes Bengali, and then comes back to Tamil Nadu. And between these three influences, a hybrid accent has come out, which we call the Kunal accent. And now we don't even bother. We write and say Kunal, that accent. That's it. Because then people get insulted and you're playing a guy in Telangana. It's got nothing to do with that guy. There's not one intonation which sounds like Telangana. But whatever. That's what you get on low budgets. Okay, guys, it's good night, Irene, from me. I'll see you tomorrow morning, and hopefully we get Remo this week. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In, or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
If you're a cricket fan, check out Edges and Sledges, India's favorite cricket podcast.
The podcast focuses on Indian cricket, the IPL, and has a ton of banter both on and off the field.
We talk about the week's biggest cricket stories with current and ex-international cricketers, coaches, or sometimes just between us.
And it's hosted by me, DJ.
Me, Varun.
And me, Ashwin.
New episodes release every week.
You can catch us on the IVM Podcast's website, app,
or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast.
Remember the days when our granny used to narrate once upon a time stories? Let's bring back the good old days of moral stories with Storytime Tamil. Hi, I am Ravishankar Balachandran, host of Storytime Tamil podcast. I would like you to entertain and educate your children with stories from Storytime Tamil. Tune in to the new episode sharp at 7 p.m. every day on IVM website, IVM podcast app, YouTube channel, or wherever you get your podcast from.